Welcome to this Total Warhammer 2's single player campaign battle. So today we have the High Elves versus the Druki, and it's going to be a pretty big battle. So the balance of power is definitely not in the High Elves' favor, even though they're on the defense. So we're up against a what are they called? Blood Voyage army. So the entire army is unbreakable. So it's fairly elite army. It's completely unbreakable. So they've got Black Dragon, they've got some Cold Knights, they've got plenty of Dread Spears, a War Hydra even, quite a few groups of Sisters of Slaughter, Hageneth Executioners. They've got all of the good stuff. And they've got 6 siege towers at the moment. All the Wood Elves currently have. They've got quite a few groups of Dryads, regular High Elf Spearmen, bunch of archers. They do have the Scions of Mathland, but that's the most elite unit on the field. There are a few Lothan Sea Guards scattered about. As the battle begins, we'll have the siege towers moving up and the towers trying to focus down on the infantry as they progress forward. These Dread Knights, are taking an absolute beating from all the artillery coming in. Currently, the High Elves are holding strong, but as soon as they start breaching those walls and getting those siege towers up, it's going to be an absolute massacre for these 4 High Elf Spearmen are just not up to the task, dealing with Hageneth Executioners and Sisters of Slaughter. But we do have a multi-layered defense, so multiple archer units in the back here to support the units fighting on the walls. As we see here, this tower is just docking out. Extremely weak unit of Sisters of Slaughter coming in to engage these spearmen. They should get mopped up pretty quickly, but there are plenty of units behind them to support. We're just keeping up as much of our arrow fire as possible. These Dryads will go relatively alright against these Bleak Swords, I'd imagine. They do have physical resist and decent stat line to hold fairly well against those Bleak Swords with the archer support. They should do alright there. Over on this side we have the archers holding, and the spearmen are climbing up the ladders now. As soon as they start getting up on those walls in numbers, they're going to be making short work of those High Elf archers. Hydra itself is just tearing down that gate. It's going to be an absolute menace. Dragon was on the field before. There he is. The Dragon's on the field, making his presence felt on the walls. He's fighting some Lothan Sea Guard, which is an alright engagement. We do have plenty of archers. 4 units of archers here, just peppering him away and just concentrating fire in his position. Looks like we're whittling him down quite well. But the Hageneth Executioners are making it up onto the side as well and just cleaving a path through these spearmen who just don't have a chance against such an elite unit. The terror being caused by that dragon, so I wonder how those Lothan Sea Guard haven't broken yet. We do have spears and plenty of archer support, so they are being covered, and that dragon is getting relatively low now, just sheer volume of fire taking him down. It looks like he is about to fall very soon. And he does go down there, which is a nice win. However, the Bleak Swords are pushing through and about to get into these archer lines, which is a big problem because these archers are doing absolute work. So it looks like the Lothan Sea Guard here are being pulled back to intercept these Bleak Swords and hopefully outflank them to keep those archers firing as long as possible. Over on this side we have the War Hydra about to stomp through the gate, and the Scions of Mathland are standing ready to take that charge, but this looks like there's a few archers who've been caught out here, and they're just not going to last very long at all against these Sisters of Slaughter. They just don't have a hope in hell. More Bleak Swords coming in to outflank these Lothan Sea Guard, who previously had overwhelmed these Bleak Swords, so this situation in the middle is going to be very important, but it's going to be a bit tricky for the High Elves to keep on firing. On the left side, things are looking really well. These 4 units of archers are just continuing to pour volley after volley on these units on the walls. The Dryads have been holding strong, so it looks like all of the Dark Elf units are going to be cleaned up on the far left flank. Looking on the right, things are looking a lot grimmer. We have the Lothan Sea Guard fighting Sisters of Slaughter, and this War Hydra is just absolutely massacring everything in his path. The Spearmen over here just annihilating these archers, and look, things are good on the left, but not so well on the right, where the noble here has been brought in to try and fight the Hydra. All those elite units there, I'm not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do on that thing. Oh, here come the Dread Knights coming in. They are fighting the Scions of Mathland, so that's an alright engagement for them, but considering the terror being caused and that they are such elite units, it's going to be tough for even the Scions of Mathland to hold in that situation. So in the middle here, it looks like the archers were pulled back and there was a killing field of the archers brought into several different groups, and they've just completely massacring all of those high elves, dark elves that were in the middle there. So now they've got their fire back up onto those walls and focusing on taking down those Haganeth executioners. And the thing is, because there's a Blood Voyage, we're going to have to take out every single last one of them to win the battle. There's no other option. Over here we have the Princess, who's just continuing to take shots into. I believe she's shooting at either the War Hydra or the Cold One Dread Knights, trying to drop their models. But this War Hydra is going to be an absolute nightmare to take down with that regeneration. Spearman over here got sent flying, somehow survived. Looks like it's going to be a mass terror rout on the right hand side with just the Noble holding down, completely surrounded by Sisters of Slaughter. Cold One Dread Knights, he's not going to last too much longer in that situation. But we have secured this pocket in the middle with plenty of archers with a decent amount of ammunition continuing to pour fire in. With these spearmen holding against Dread Spears and 2 Haganeth Executioners, they are not going to last very long, but they are allowing those continuous volleys of archer fire to be raining down on their position, continuously whittling them down. Over here, the similar situation with more archer fire coming in, try and support this Noble who's just getting beaten down from all sides. It's just not a good situation from him. Looks like there was a Dark Elf sent his Spearman unit up onto the walls all the way around the flank, and they are just going to be finished off by the Spearmen and a single unit of archers. But it is low ammunition, so the High Elves are starting to burn down their ammunition, which is one of the key things they've had going for them. So what's happening is here the auxiliary units from the left-hand side are now being moved into the middle, just to create a wall, just to try and keep those archer units firing as long as possible. It's the only thing they can use to take down these High Elves. Dark Elves, sorry. High Elves, Dark Elves. Okay, so the Noble here is getting extremely low, and he's just broken. There is going to be a huge charge from the Sisters of Slaughter, but again, they've got these Dryads shielding. The Dryads are relatively strong. They have 20% physical resist, and they do cause fear. Well, fear is not going to be really relevant, but they do have that 20% physical resist, which is going to be quite nice. So the Hydra's in the middle there now. There is going to be significant volleys being poured into him, but he is extremely strong with that regeneration. He has a massive HP pool. It's not going to rout either. It looks like there's some more archers running away in the distance there. And this is not looking good on the right hand side here with this Hydra starting to pour in. Ammunition getting extremely low. Most of the units in the back here are now completely out of ammunition. And the Lord's continuing to shoot in. So there's a Dark Elf Lord with his crossbow here, just picking off High Elves in the distance there. And there's still some Haganeth Executioners left. 6 of them, up to 171 kills, and they're just fighting these archers now. Archers will not last very long. Not at all. So all of the remaining units from the left-hand side are now being brought in to try and pepper them down as much as possible. Question is, can the High Elves hold off the Dark Elves? There's terror-causing monsters and all these unbreakable units remaining. Can they do it? We shall see. It looks like the War Hydra is retreating a bit here. Not a bad idea. He is getting a little bit low, so maybe trying to regenerate some of his health. It is allowing the rest of this High Elf units. Archers being committed into melee. They are the light armored variant, so they will be trying to wear down these Cold One Dread Knights. It's just not an easy fight for them at all. Doesn't look like there's too many Spearmen left on that side, or there is some Spearmen. They're being held back to try and deal with the War Hydra. The War Hydra is just rampaging through their lines. More Spearmen now being thrown into the meat grinder here. It looks like the last of the Haganeth Executioners have been brought down. The last 6 of them is 48 Dread Spears still holding against these archers. So I'd say that we go the way of the Dread Spears, but now with the Spearmen support, it's just going to be a matter of trying to grind them down. They're obviously not going to rout. So there are quite a few units. It looked like the Dark Elves did try to sneak into the capture point and try to steal that, but there was a unit of archers committed into melee to stop that. And it looks like the princess herself here is just spinning around, giving flips and taking those high elves, dark elves down. Oh yeah. So badass. Looks like the last of those 2 dread spears, 3 of them, sorry, are going to be eliminated. Should secure the back lines for the high elves. The balance of power is not in the high elves' favor at all, as you can see. It's about 40%, 35% or so there. There's only 39 dark elves left, and there is a huge contingent of high elves left, so about 687. And the trouble is that they've got all these terror-causing units, the War Hydra, and basically there's no ammunition left on the high elf side. So everything's being committed into melee. The last of those Dread Knights are now being taken down. The sheer volume of these archers. The Lord is in the back there, up to 87 kills now, just continuing to shoot in with his crossbow. He's doing quite a number. Yeah, got another 3 kills there. So basically, all of these units here, all of these archer units, the signs of Mathlan are still up, but they're basically just trying to wear down this War Hydra. So just that 1 unit of spearmen, probably going to break soon, trying to wear down this terror-causing monster. There are some dryads coming back into the fight now, and it's basically just a matter of trying to surround it and try to ensure that the high elves don't break, because if we get a rout here, mass terror rout, things are going to look extremely dangerous. What is this? There is some... Oh, it does look like there is some Lothan Seaguard with 2 ammunition left, still shooting in, so it looks like they're trying to use up all of their ammunition before the fight's done. And the princess may be doing the same, lining up to shoot some more volleys into that War Hydra. He's up to 2,800 health at the moment, and the sheer number of high elves trying to surround this thing is quite impressive, but he's just fighting this massive monster. So it looks like the Lord as well, the enemy Lord has run out of ammunition, so he's been committed into melee now, so it's basically just the... I think there is some high elves units. Yep, so the spearmen over here, so it looks like these red spears fared better than expected. So they managed to eliminate a decent group of archers over there, so it's just the dread spears versus the high elf spears, which is going to be an interesting battle. I'm not sure how that's going to go. I do think the high elves are going to win just because of sheer numbers, but they do seem to be holding for a long time there, and there's no support, so it's just going to be the 2 of them just hitting at each other all day. The War Hydra is getting relatively low, 2,400 health. There's just not really anything on the field that can actually do damage to him. He's just absolutely in his element here, just destroying high elf infantry. And it did look like the, was it the 2-headed one? Another one grows, another one takes its place, so that health regeneration of the War Hydra was getting popped there. And the War Hydra is now at its healing cap, 2,900 health. The Lord is continuing to just rip up those high elf archers, so just not having too much of a chance for him. So these last units are completely out of ammo. I don't think there's a single arrow left on the high elf archers at all. And even the princess herself, who's dangerously low, only 900 health left, she's completely out of ammo. She's now been committed into melee, and it's going to be rough. I mean, if the Lord gets taken out, if the high elf Lord falls here, there's just easily going to be a mass terror rout. All these high elves are going to run and they'll just lose the battle. So what we do have is we've got a complete surround on this War Hydra, and seeing as the princess does cause a lot of damage, she's being moved in around the side and trying to inflict as much damage as you can on that War Hydra without taking too much directly. So at the moment she's being shielded to a certain extent, and most of her units she's just trying to hit that and get every last hit she can into the side of it, because she's the only one that can actually try and do damage. It looks like she got a nice little hit there, and the high elves are continuing to rout and be broken by that monster. The Lord himself is just having a field day, just tearing into these poor high elf archers. He's up to 160, the War Hydra over 200 now. Every unit that's being broken off the battlefield is immediately being pushed back in here to try and surround these things. And surrounded doesn't matter too much in terms of morale. I said that before, they were unbreakable, but it allows them to get as many hits as possible on that thing. That War Hydra is extremely low now, thanks to the Lord getting some sneaky hits in there. So he's at 200 health now. Looks like the Lord's going to try and get a final hit. She gets knocked over there. She does have 500 health left now, and she's going to get one last hit in, maybe. 237 on that thing now. Okay, she's getting back up. Come on. She could do it. Maybe 70 health on that thing. There, she gets one last hit. Takes the War Hydra down. So, basically, we still have these Dread Spears over here. What is it? 3 of them left now, fighting the rest of these Spearmen. Which is quite impressive because they basically took down about half the number of the Spearmen. And it looks like there's just one Dread Spear, and he's finally finished. So, it's all going to be basically trying to get the entire army and completely surrounding this Lord. But it is a dangerous situation. The balance of power is a little bit more in the High Elves' favor, but the Princess is extremely low. She has 500 health. One bad hit, one terror, well, not terror route, but one big route, and it could spell the end of the High Elves. The last of those units are being moved in now. Hopefully it will buff up the morale of the surrounding guys, because they do have that sort of morale. They do have decent morale when they've got lots of units around them. But that being said, every time one of them does rout, it is a penalty to their nearby allies. So that's a bit of a win-lose situation there. So the Dread Lord is getting completely surrounded. He is cutting through them slowly. And basically, the Princess, the only one who can do real damage to him, is just being kept on the outskirts of the battle. As I said before, if she takes one bad hit and goes down, that's the end of her. But what is happening here is we're trying to sneak her in, try and get a sneaky hit onto the Dreadlord. So she's trying to walk in there and find a path in which she can do that. But he's just continuing to just hit those spearmen. How much? Those archers, 16 melee attack, 18 melee defense is pretty pitiful stats. Obviously all the units are extremely exhausted, making those stats even lower. So the Lord's coming in now from a different angle now, trying to hit him from behind and get a nice hit in just to finally finish him off, because he does have 1300 HP left. And did get a hit, I believe, yeah, he got a hit into the Princess there, getting her down to 100 HP now, which is extremely dangerous for the High Elves, because she's starting to waver now with such low health. So decide to move her out, pull her back, and hopefully that Lord doesn't get to her, because one hit, I don't think the rest of the army would be able to take her finally falling. Even though the balance of power is in their favor, only 200 High Elves left on the field now from 600 before when they were fighting that War Hydra. This Lord just having a field day, getting close to 300 kills now. It's just tearing those High Elf archers apart. Still keeping Princess on the outskirts of the battle there. More routing units. Not sure if those guys will come back. There's some archers on the distance there who are just completely gone. So even though this guy is surrounded, even though there is one Dreadlord left, completely unbreakable, one bad move by the High Elves, one bad mistake, one situation where their morale starts dropping, it could set off a chain reaction, just shatter the entire army. So the Lord's being kept back, he's being surrounded, but it's just a question of how much damage they can inflict on him with it. Basically got pitiful melee stats. He's quite a beast at melee, that Dreadlord, so he's seeing how he's going up. Almost 300 kills now. He's getting very low now, 700 HP. Lord's still wavering, but being kept close by to provide that leadership bonus is very, very important. $596 now.
The Widowmaker!
So I've never really seen these High Elf archers fight a whole lot. Too many situations where they need to be committed to the fight and basically be the difference between win or defeat, but it's definitely got their work cut out for them. He's got down to 400 health now, just under 400 health. So that's definitely looking good in the High Elves' favour. The numbers are getting extremely low. Only 70 troops left on the field now for the High Elves. Still surrounded, but yeah, as I said, one mistake, one route, and this could be end. So the Lord's going to come in now for the Alpha Strike. She comes in and she misses. She's completely misses. She's only got 200 health. Who's going to hit who first? Who's going to get the final hit? And she did turn around in time, finish him off. If he turned around and finished her off, he could have very easily gone the other way. So an extremely close battle there. Have a look at the breakdown of the units there. That was an insane battle. So we had the High Elf Princess, who didn't get a whole lot of kills, but she did inflict a lot of damage, especially on that Hydra at the end. The Sons of Mathlon were in a weird situation where they had to fight Sisters of Slaughter and all that, but the Dryads were doing an incredible job with what they were up against, and same thing with these Loth and Seaguard fighting. They did get crippled down, and then they were trying to use the arrow volleys. It was a rougher situation because most of these units have a shield block chance, and then these Hageneth executioners just have extremely high armor. So basically, the rest of the army, of course, it was the archers carrying the day with just volley after volley. So positioning them behind the walls was really strong. The noble got taken out maybe by the Hydra, might have come in and just finished him off, or he just got completely surrounded because those Hageneth executioners and those Sisters of Slaughter were just absolute menaces, and it was very, very strong for the archer support to take down those guys in the wall, securing the left flank and then being able to move over to the middle and the right to support that position was really strong. So that was incredibly close game, and an interesting one because you don't go too many battles up against blood fleets like that, blood voyages. It comes straight down to the wire like that. So thanks for watching.